So let me go through some more details. I'm going to look at the rules, what we feel should be rules, what I feel should be guidance for the clubs. We don't want to prescribe everything, but we've got some good guidance for the clubs. And then we'll look at some possible product recommendations for things that we have used for cells, motors and speed controls. Okay, first of all, the rules as laid out by the BRCA for this class, LMGT3, will be either a GT12 chassis or an LMP chassis, it doesn't matter, running a GT styled body and 2S electronics, running a 25.5 turn fixed timing motor. The minimum weight for the class will be 730 grams, which comes directly from LMP. You don't need to be weighting the car up. If you build one of these cars, it'll be in the kind of region of 750 grams. And if you try really hard, you might get it down to 730, but I wouldn't suggest that that's something you need to fight too hard for. You're not going to need to put false weight into this car. If you were running a GT12 chassis, you might want to put an LMP axle on that will take the full width LMP rear tyres. Why would you disadvantage yourself? You can run a spool or a diff, doesn't matter, and the drivability of these cars actually makes a spool a lot easier to drive than in full LMP. So now we come to some guidance that we want to really encourage. So first of all, what's been adopted in the mini class, which we feel is a really good idea, is the price limit on a Speedo to £80. There is no point putting high performance, low internal resistance 2S Speedos from the top end world of touring cars, 200 amp capable speed controls that cost £200, for example. Complete waste of time in a car like this. It needs so little current, so we want to encourage the clubs to adopt an £80 maximum retail price on the speed controller, just to help advertise to people, don't put stupidly expensive Speedos in an LMGT3 car. Second piece of guidance is the use of a Spec tyre. These are the 38 Shore A-foam purple striped Spec tyres from Contact. You can get them either as 3-bolt, okay, which is going to suit most cars, or hex if you're running the Schumacher platform, and then of course all the fronts are the same. They all have the purple stripe on them. They're all 38 Shore A-foam. We've spoken to the manufacturer and they're going to be provided in the box at 43mm front and 43mm rear. Now, I don't think you want to run a tyre bigger than that, and some LMP drivers would feel that that is way too big. But trust me, with the harder tyre, it supports the sidewall really, really well. You can run them bigger, which will give, for a club racer, much better tyre life. Okay, now the grip level has been tested at a couple of clubs. We've tested at Tamworth, and we've also tested at High Wycombe. Tamworth is a kind of national size track. High Wycombe is a small typical club track, and grip levels are very, very good from this tyre. One advantage for this tyre, in my opinion, is that you can bolt a set of tyres on, run the same tyres all night. You will get very slow degradation of tyre diameter. We're losing 0.1 of a millimetre per run on the diameter of the rears, and we're losing 0.2 of a millimetre per run on the diameter of the fronts. So I can go out with maybe a 3.6, 3.7 mil ride height underneath the car, run all night on the same set of tyres, and all I need to be doing is re-additiving the rear, and just before I go on, putting new additive on the on a thin part of the front, run the car again. Obviously, if you run a softer tyre, the car's going to go quicker. It's going to have more grip. But at the moment, the power delivery and the grip available from these tyres is a really nice to drive balanced thing. If you go softer and softer, yes, the lap times will go down slightly, but if everybody's on a level playing field, what is the point? If you want to run a really soft tyre class, that's what LMP is. We already have high performance, super grippy, super anally retentive cars that are hard to set up and have a very narrow setup window. We don't need to be doing that for club level. So please think about sticking with a control tyre. Then you avoid this situation. If I go LMP racing, this is one box of 4 boxes of tyres I'll take with me, where I'll run one set and then put them aside. I might run them a second time at national level. T-foam?
Yeah, T35s.
35s all round. And what diameters do you run?
40.5 and 41.5.
40.5, 41.5, so a 1 mil stagger.
Yeah.
Will you run these again?
No.
No.
New tyres every run.
New tyres every run. If you calculate the amount of cost that there is in this box, it's probably upwards of £300 just to go racing. So I'm committed to it, and that's okay for me. But why infect LMGT3 with that kind of thing when we can be running a 38 Shore, a foam tyre, and run it all night? If for some reason this tyre just does not work on your carpet, and I can't see why it wouldn't, then by all means, clubs come up with your own rules. And this is why we're not making this a rule, we're just making it strong guidance for the benefit and keeping the cost of racing low. You'll find product information and guides in the notes for this video. Let's go through some more of the details. So in my case, I'm running a Hobby Wing XE Run G3S Speedo. It's the Just Stock Speedo. It's a low cost Speedo, less than the recommended retail limit of £80. I've seen good Speedos from Team Powers and also from Surpass in the 50 quid region. You can also buy really well priced combos which come with the Speedo and the 25.5 turn fixed time motor together for a real reasonable price also. On motors I've tested so far myself, I've got the Just Stock 25.5 turn Hobby Wing motor that came with the combo. I bought the Speedo and the motor together. I ran that for half a meeting, and then I put the Rocket Surpass 25.5 turn motor in. I just couldn't feel the difference. The motors felt pretty much the same to me. Some people have said that maybe the Surpass doesn't fade so much, but the KV on the Hobby Wing is better. So with this, maybe it's a little bit quicker at the beginning, but maybe not so much at the end, whereas the Surpass is the other way around. The thermal capacity of the car is really good. You can run full 8 minutes if you want to, and the motors are coming off easy to touch. No heat problems here, no heat problems in these Speedos either. Now in terms of your gearing, you probably want to start at 70mm per rev rollout. For each revolution of the motor, how far is the car going? That's what we call millimeters per rev. And the reason we talk about that and not a gearing as such in terms of pinion and spur gear is that in a pan car, over time the rear tyres get smaller, and so you have to gear up slightly as the tyre gets smaller. Let me make that simple for you. If you're going with a 43mm rear tyre and you've got a 78 tooth spur gear on the back, you're going to be running a 40mm pinion. That will get you into the region of 70mm per rev. So 40 tooth pinion, 78 tooth spur, and a 43mm tyre. If you're running the slightly coarser 48 pitch gears, you'll be running a 34 tooth pinion with a 68 tooth spur. That kind of starting area would be common. These motors and speed controller setups are not very sensitive to gearing, so you can overgear slightly, it won't make much difference. You can undergear slightly. When we're running full LMP cars on 1S, they're very sensitive to gearing and they're very sensitive to thermal issues and heat. This car, not so. So we come to cells. This is a 1S pack from a LMP car. 1S pack is effectively a 93mm kind of standard cell, whereas you'll find with a lot of 2S packs, they're going to be slightly bigger than that. This one is like 95mm, 96mm. I think 96mm is kind of the standard for a 2S pack. So be careful with that because they're just a little bit wider. So on the Schumacher car, which has two bars which the cell is held between, I've just had to widen that slightly by grinding it out. There is a cell by ABM which is available in the UK, which is the 93mm spec. It's a 2S cell, but it's 93mm straight out of the box, so that would go straight in, and the details of that cell are in the notes. Now these are 4200 2S cells. I mean, it's a bit confusing, isn't it, because this is a 1S pack that says it's 8500 milliamp hours, and this is a 2S pack that is 4200 milliamp hours, but the energy is effectively the same because this is half the voltage of this one. So in terms of capacity of energy, they're the same thing. Don't go for anything more than a 4200. They are available as shorty packs. They'll be about 18.5 millimeters here. But if you go for the bigger, higher capacity packs, then you're going to end up being fatter and fatter here. And it just increases the center of gravity of the car. And there's absolutely no point doing it, because on a run on one of these cars, you're only going to be taking 1400 milliamp hours out of this thing. That's, you know, only 1/3 discharging, and that would be for an 8-minute run, and I know a lot of clubs are going to run this over 6 minutes. You hardly take any energy out of the pack, and for club racing it's great because it only takes you 12 minutes to put that energy back in again. In LMP we're all chasing lowest possible internal resistance, so with the 2S drivetrain we just don't care about doing that. The internal resistance of the motor is so high that the impedance of this cell pack and also the speed controller are all pretty much irrelevant. Just take it off the track, put them back on charge, 12 minutes you'll be charged back up to the top again, go race. Now that brings me on to just discussing BodyShells. This is a bitty design Aries 1 shell which fits an LMP car very well. The thing you want to watch out for is the width here. So LMP cars tend to be wider at the front. This is 170 millimeters, this shell that I've just measured. This is a body from a GT12 actually, and you'll notice that, well, this one's 162. So clearly that 162 would be fine for a GT12 car. You do that, you're going to end up with a problem where the front wheel is kind of slightly wider than the body is, and that's really not good for the tyres or the car. You know, if you're going to hit a barrier, then you want the body to hit the barrier, not the actual wheel and tyres. So the bodies that we know that are suitable, and they're in the list as well, would be this body, which is the Bitty Design Aries 1. There's a Bitty Design GT3R. I've got the part number in the notes. The Super Rad Super Cura fits fine, and also one of our guys was telling us that the fat bodies, GTR and NSX bodies, also fit fine, that they're the full width we need to fit over an LMP car. If you're using a GT12 chassis to come to LMGT3, you've got a lot more choice in the bodies that you're going to use. You've probably come to this video via the Facebook group for LMGT3. Please feel free to leave comments, make posts, show us pictures of the cars that you're preparing to go club racing with. We're really looking forward to seeing what you're up to.